might not seem like much, but that constant repetition builds up, one, the muscle memory. You don't have to think about what you're doing. As soon as that command's given, if you've done it 100 or 1,000 times, you just do it. It's like anything else that you do in your own life, at your own place of work, or if you play in a band, in theater, on a sports team.
Yeah, it is.
You practice. Why do you practice?
There goes Jesse.
Better.
You get better, right? So that when the game's on the line, you know exactly what to do. Or when that band or orchestra reaches a crescendo, there's not a false note. Or when you're at work, you don't make a mistake that costs a lot of money or ruins the business. You practice in everything that you do in your daily life so that you get better. And you get to the point where you don't even think about it anymore. And that's the goal of drill. Constant, repetitive drill. The hope is that it instills some discipline so that when you are under fire for the first time, you fall back on that training and that confidence in yourself and in your officer, which tends to work if you're in the regular army. But again, when you're only practicing or drilling once a month, you haven't reached that level. Carriage open. Where are my words? Open. Hey. The lieutenant is now taking his men through the loading exercise. The lieutenant is the man on the end, very ornate uniform, sword, and the gold epaulet. You can note his uniform's a lot fancier than the enlisted men or the privates in the ranks in front of him. Pride. There are other men that have cloth epaulets on their shoulders, and those denote the non-commissioned officers, your NCOs, your sergeant on the right of the line, your corporal on the left of the line. Loading the musket was a series of complicated moves that should only take 20 seconds. So it's important, again, that you keep going through these steps. A well-trained soldier can fire a minimum of 3 rounds a minute. So that's 1 round every 20 seconds, loading from the muzzle, which is why you stand up to fight. It's the quickest and easiest way to load the musket. You can load it lying down in the prone position or hiding up inside of a tree, but it's going to take a lot longer to do that. Also, these weapons are very inaccurate. Their maximum effective range is about 240 feet or 80 yards. That's not far at all. So to be effective or do damage on the battlefield, you want as many guys together firing at once and sending a solid wall of lead down range at the enemy. To do that quickly and efficiently, you stand up and pack your men together. Ready. Now they have not loaded their muskets for real, so they won't be firing just yet. Elevation. Hey! Hey! Recover! Because you are standing up on the field of battle, because you can be seen by the enemy, you want to look uniform. Everybody should be wearing the same thing. Right, so you can make somebody. One guy over there. And then why don't you stand right here and work with this guy. Okay, that's good. So basically I'll use you two as the line, so thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a safety line set up with our soldiers, both American and British here. So as long as you're on that side where you are already, you're fine. You don't need to worry. Although if you want to push the British in front, that's fine. Hey! Hey! Fire! Go! Now that was a rolling fire from right to left. There are different ways that you can have your men fire. And again, on the battlefield, if you've got a couple hundred or a couple thousand men, you don't have everybody firing at once. Maybe your right flank is firing, maybe the center. Hey!
Hey, guess what?
Fire! So at Havre, when the British were coming ashore, the American militia broke and fled. At the Battle of Bladensburg, outside of Washington, D.C., on the 24th of August, 1814, a few militia units held their ground while the majority of the 6,000-man American army fell back and retreated. But at the Battle of North Point on September 12th of 1814, 1,500 American militiamen from the city of Baltimore held their ground for an hour and a half against 4,000 British soldiers. For an hour and a half, they stood in those long lines, volley after volley, choking on that smoke, sweating profusely, fighting into those bitter cartridges, handling that hot musket, ramming that round home, firing that musket ball downrange. Eventually, British numbers ruled the day. They outflanked the American line.